Hello, bunnies. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am reading scary Reddit stories with my dear YouTuber friend Kai here.
Hi.
Okay, so Kai found us this story, which seems interesting. I found a box of classified files hidden inside an abandoned ranger stations. I should not have read them.
I've never posted anything like this before. I'm not the kind of person who shares things on the internet, but I have been carrying something for almost 30 years and I can't do it alone anymore.
In 1996, I was working as a contractor in northern Arizona, mostly repair work. Cabins, fire towers, old ranger stations. The kind of jobs nobody else wanted because they were too far from anywhere and paid next to nothing.
In October, I got a call from a Park Service office asking if I could spend 2 weeks repairing a ranger station deep in the mountains. They said the place had been abandoned since the late 70s. Nobody told me why.
The station was about 40 miles from the nearest paved road. No power, no phone line, just a dirt track through pine forest and canyon country.
The building was worse than they had described. Half the roof had collapsed. The walls were black with mold, rat nests, and everything. The place felt wrong from the moment I stepped inside. Not haunted, but I don't believe in that, but just like heavy. Like the air had not moved in a very long time.
On the third day, I was pulling rotten shelving out of the station office. Behind the shelves, I found a door, narrow, set into the wall like it was built with the station and then covered up later. The hinges were rusted shut. I had to use a crowbar.
Behind the door was a small room. No bigger than a pantry, no windows, concrete walls, which was strange because the rest of the station was timber frame. Someone had built this room differently on purpose.
There was a metal desk, a broken chair, and on the floor, a wooden box.
The box had no label, no lock. It was heavy.
Inside were dozens of file folders, some typed on official Park Service letterheads, some written on notebook paper, some just scraps folded and tucked in.
Oldest file was dated 1931. The newest was from 1982. Over 50 years of reports, all hidden in the same room, all passed down from one head ranger to the next, and every single door had the same stamp across the front. Red ink, block letters. Do not file.
I did not read them all that night. I read 5 or 6 sitting on the floor with a work lamp plugged into my generator. 5 or 6 was enough.
They were incident reports that somebody had decided should not exist. Disappearances, hikers, campers, hunters, families, people who walked into the backcountry and did not come back. Or who came back wrong. Miles from where they should have been, confused, injured, unable to explain what happened, and the details kept repeating.
Camps found intact, gear untouched, and the boots. Always the boots. Left behind in the tent or beside the bedroll, placed neatly, like the person had taken them off, set them down, and walked into the dark barefoot.
Not once, not twice, across decades, across different parks, different rangers, writing the reports years apart, none of them knowing that the others had seen the same thing.
But someone knew. Someone collected these files and hid them behind a wall and stamped every one of them with the same words. I should have put the box back. I should have sealed the room and driven home. Instead, I loaded the box into my truck.
Pause. Let me just say, absolute dumbass, but also I would do it too.
Yeah, because your nosy ass would just be like, I should put these back, but I want to know more.
I would.
If both of us were in this situation, I would be like, no, leave the damn box. We are going, we are leaving, we are not coming back.
I'd have been like, but the box.
No!
We get in the car and you're like, okay, did you leave the box? And I'm just sitting in the back seat with all of the boxes, like,
Go put the damn boxes back!
No.
You're gonna get us killed! You know what? Fine. You're going back to your house with those damn boxes, but you better not leave one in this damn truck, because I am not getting killed.
And then I would purposely leave one file left tucked underneath the driver's seat.
I would kill you. I would very much kill you. Anyway.
Something happened on my last morning. At that station. I woke up early, maybe 5:30. I stepped outside and looked down at the ground in front of the door. The dirt was soft. I had been tracking my own boot prints in and out for days. I knew what my prints looked like. These were not mine. They were bare feet.
Bare footprints starting about 10 feet from the front door, not coming towards the station, leading away toward the tree line at the edge of the clearing. They crossed the clearing in a straight line and disappeared into the trees. There were no prints coming back. I was 40 miles from the nearest road. I had not seen another person in 4 days. I finished the job. I did not sleep well. And when I drove out, the box was in the back of my truck. I never handed it over. I never told anyone what I found. Not until now.
Sorry. It's talking about the bare footprints walking away from the tower, and I'm just imagining this dude in the middle of the night, possessed or some shit, taking off his boots, taking off his socks, going barefoot into the wood line, and then just walking backwards in the exact same footprint so then it doesn't look like he came back.
Oh my god.
I could imagine it. It's very funny. I've carried this box for almost 30 years. I've gone back to it dozens of times, read more of the files, compared them, found patterns that span decades, the stretch across the entire country, the boots, the distances that do not make sense, the caves that nobody wants to talk about, and the people who tried to report what they saw and were quietly moved aside. People are still going missing, every year, the same way, in all the same kinds of places.
I have started recording myself reading through these files, all of them, in order. I need there to be record that cannot be stamped and buried. You can find the recordings. I do not know if anyone will listen, but they are there. I will change the names, the locations, the dates. Some of the people in these files still have families, but the stories themselves stay.
Because somebody should know. These are the buried archives.
That's... Okay, that's actually interesting.
I actually really liked them.
That was interesting. All right, we are back, and I have found part 2 of the last story that we have read, which is really interesting because I actually was pretty invested in the first one.
I was too.
Something is happening to me. Since my last post, I have not been able to stop going through the box. I pulled all 47 folders out and spread them across my garage floor. I grouped them by decade, then by location, then by what happened.
I've not been sleeping. I wake up in places I did not fall asleep. Twice at my back door, once in my garage, standing over the box. Last night in my driveway, with dirty feet and no memory of going outside. There are cuts on my hands that were not there before. And there's a smell on my skin that will not wash off. Earthy, sweet, like something from underground.
I need to tell you what I found in the files, because I think it is connected to what is happening to me. The first file I read was from 1974, Colorado. A ranger named Machin, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that, was sent to find 4 missing hikers.
He found their camp intact, tents standing, gear stowed, boots inside one of the tents, placed neatly, side by side. All 4 packs were there, wallets, car keys, everything. 4 people got up in the middle of the night and walked into the dark, without shoes.
2 were found 6 days later, 17 miles away, on the other side of the mountain ridge. Neither was wearing shoes. Neither could explain what happened. One had deep cuts on his hands, with limestone fragments in the wounds. Oh, ow. Oh, that sounds painful.
When I read about the cuts, I looked down at my hands. The same cuts. I almost threw up. The ranger had seen this before, same ridge, 3 times across 16 years. He requested a cave survey. The airflow coming out of the entrance was strong, like the mountain was breathing.
They denied the survey, sealed the cave, resigned him to a desk, stamped the file, "Do not file." Hidden inside that folder, I found a cassette tape. 1967, Kentucky. An interview with the wife of a missing ranger.
You described your husband finding a cave entrance. He became obsessed. Went back every day, cuts on his hands with limestone dust. And then he started waking up at night, standing outside the cabin, barefoot, facing the direction of the cave. I stopped the tape because I've been waking up the same way, barefoot at my back door, staring outside. The exact same thing.
After the interview ended, the recorder kept running. The interviewer said to someone else in the room, "That is the 4th one this year. Same as the others. The boots, the cave, the cuts on hands." Then the tape destroyed itself. On the back, someone had written 5 locations across America, all on limestone, and one word circled twice: limestone.
The smell of my skin. I found out what it is. A file from 1951, Marble Fork, California. Scientists sent into a cave in the Sierra Nevada. At 600 feet, they found something growing on the walls. Dark residue on dry limestone, no water, no light, feeding on the rock itself. The deeper they went, the thicker it got.
The geologist wrote that it smelled earthy and sweet, like a forest floor in autumn. That is the smell on my hands, the exact smell from something that grows 600 feet underground in a cave 500 miles from my house. It is on me, and I have never been in that cave, unless I've been going somewhere at night that I do not remember.
The third man on the survey turned back alone. When the others returned, he was gone. Boots placed neatly at the entrance. The lab could not identify the substance from the walls. Samples destroyed, report buried, cave sealed. The geologist wrote, "I do not believe that the cave took him. I believe it called him, and I believe he went willingly, because I almost did too."
I am being called. I can feel it. The same pull that the geologist described, that the ranger's wife described, that every person in these files experienced before they disappeared.
Marble Fork is 8 hours from my house. I packed my truck this morning. I do not want to go, but I cannot stop the pull, and I am afraid that if I do not go on my own terms, I will end up there anyway, some night without shoes. I'll try to update when I get back. If I get back. Last night I woke up outside again. This time my car keys were in my hand. These are the buried archives.
That is insane. Like, if this is actually true, that's terrifying.
We need to find part 3!
Sadly, there is no part 3 to the story we were reading, but I found this one. I used to work for a secret branch of the military. The government is hiding something in the Appalachian Mountains. Alright, so we have this one, and this is a very lengthy story, so I feel like this one's gotta be really good.
And with the part 2 as well.
This is gonna be interesting. I lived in a very, very rural and secluded environment. My house is located somewhere in rural West Virginia, although I won't exactly pinpoint my location. My nearest neighbor is a mile away, and the only place we can buy food is a teeny tiny convenience store located in the middle of the woods. Okay, why would there be a random convenience store in the middle of the woods? That already seems sketchy, and I don't like it.
It's because you live in the mountains, bro.
Still sketchy.
You expect people who live in the mountains to go drive To Timbuktu to go get fucking groceries?
Timbuktu. Honestly, I don't mind being so secluded.
I moved here after my long-lived career working for the USMC and a classified government organization because there was no loud traffic and no annoying neighbors. None of the world's bullshit. The only way that you could get to my house is a narrow dirt road that only has one lane, just for me and my property. My house is surrounded by forest, and the internet connection sucked when it was existent. It was peaceful, the perfect seclusion for a lonely man as myself. Whenever I walked into the mountains on the trails and paths snaking through the forests, I always had a feeling that the mountain range was alive.
That came true when the first time I saw the creatures. I was sitting on my front porch reading a copy of a horror book in the evening. The mosquitoes all dead from a recent cold snap. It had gotten dark surprisingly fast that day, and the air was humid and warm, just how I liked it. I spotted two glowing eyes looking at me from the tree line. I wasn't that scared, because the creature could have just as easily been a deer or a coyote.
I regularly saw animals at night, so this wasn't the first time. However, I did get scared when the creature exited the tree line, and indeed, the large the large field which my house is built on. I believe that's supposed to say entered.
Yeah. Very bad
And
mishap from autocorrect.
it's okay, we get that too. And entered the large field in which my house was built on. Despite the fact that the creature was on all fours, it had a humanoid figure. Besides that, the only other things I could make out were an oval-shaped head, glowing yellow eyes, and long, bony fingers. When the creature stood up, it was tall and lanky.
It appeared to be extremely skinny, almost skeletal even. I nearly fucking shit myself when I saw the creature's face shifted and it seemed to bubble. Then dozens of smaller octopus-like eyes popped out all over its general neck and head area. Next thing I knew, my heart was pounding like fuck, and I was going inside my house to get my 12 gauge shotgun, or 12
That
gauge
says gauge.
shotgun. Shush. I corrected myself. Shush. I came back outside only to find the creature was nowhere in sight, so imagine my surprise when I spotted the creature no more than 50 yards away from me.
Oh, nah, man.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Mm-mm. That's like from
Nope.
where I am to the front of my property right now, I think.
Oh, hell no. Uh-uh.
My heart skipped a beat, and I debated on whether I should shoot the thing. It had not shown any signs of aggression, so I had no reason to think that this creature meant any harm, but on the other hand, this creature looked like something that would come out of my fucking nightmares, and it scared me a lot. Thankfully, it made my decision for me, as it started running towards me at full speed, not making a single sound. Also, as I was reading that, a box fell off my porch, which fucking scared the shit out of me.
You poor
I nearly
thing.
pooted myself.
I decided to fire a shot into the air and see what direction the situation would go. Yeah, I'm not the brightest guy. When I did, the creature looked me directly in the eyes and immediately started to retreat into the forest. Just before I lost sight of it, I took a picture with my shitty iPhone. A dark, blurry picture, but a form of evidence nonetheless.
When the creature left, a satisfying wave of relief washed over me. That was the first, but not the last time I saw one of those creatures. The next day, I was at that convenience store I referenced earlier.
The convenience/general store's interior consisted of shelves with off-brand foods, animal mounts on the walls, and a bunch of shelves containing miscellaneous fishing and hunting supplies, as well as an insane amount of firearms and ammunition being sold there. Insane for a tiny general store. I was talking to one of the store's cashiers, Bert. Bert was on the older side of middle-aged, who was tall, powerfully built, and a graying brown-haired Marine sniper who served way before me in Desert Storm. Today he was wearing jeans and a SpongeBob shirt under a button-up flannel shirt. I was the only person in the store at the time.
Hey, Kent. Bert nodded. Anything you're looking for in particular?
Yeah, I said. Could you, show me your piece for a second?
Bert lifted his flannel shirt to reveal a pistol holstered neatly to his hip. I presumed that this was the case of some. This was in case of some the drifters and drunk out of towners decided to get a little too rowdy.
What is it?
Colt 1911. Why, you interested in one? Bert asked.
Yeah. Can I just get one? The exact same as you? I don't really give a fuck about the specifics. And a hip holster too, if you got one around somewhere.
Alright, give me a second. Bert took out a keychain and looked for the right one before using it to open the plexiglass gun case behind the counter. He pulled out a Colt 1911 and went to the storage room, coming back with 2 small boxes full of 45 APC bullets and a leather hip holster. That'll be $700 total. The rest is on the house, since you're a regular. Just sign these papers real quick. It's just some registry government license bullshit.
Bert handed me a few papers and a pen, and I started quickly filling out the papers on the counter as he tapped his shoe, humming.
So, you never mentioned why you want to pack heat all of a sudden. I know you already got a 12 gauge at home. Not much use for a little 911 around these parts.
Kai.
Sorry.
Kai.
I'm sorry.
You are so dyslexic. Oh my god.
I'm dyslexic with numbers. A little 1911.
Thank you. Yeah, well, have you ever seen wildlife around here? I don't know how to say it, but wildlife on the more unusual side, I half explained. Bert seemed to contemplate something, looking in the distance for a few seconds before answering.
No? Why do you ask?
Never mind, I said. It's probably something on my It's just something on my property is fucking with me, and a shotgun is too much of a bitch to carry around. Probably just a bear or something.
Bert raised an eyebrow slightly as I finished filling out the forms, and by the way he reacted, I could absolutely tell he knew much more than he was letting on. After all, I had heard about the other townsfolk at the local bar talking about his unusual, extremely secretive job in some government branch. He was an extremely sharp man.
Alright, I'm done, I said, handing him the forms.
Thanks, Kent. I'll get these packaged for you. Just stay out there. Just stay safe out there. After he finished packaging my new supplies, I paid for my new handheld protection and left. $600 poorer. I sighed as I thought about my next payday, as I worked occasionally as a hunting guide for rich tourists who wanted to bag a grizzly or an elk.
The next day, after I was done dealing with an obnoxious couple from LA who couldn't hold a gun properly if it meant them their lives, I began my drive home. Halfway through the car ride back to my property, it was dead of night when I nearly ran over one of those creatures crossing the road. It was just crossing the road, and I just happened to be there. Wrong place, wrong time. The creature, which looked at least twice the size of the one I had seen, this one was around 8 or 9 feet tall, and had miniature versions of human arms and appendages sticking out of its torso, dead in the eye. Screeched, then it started to crawl towards my car.
Fast. Really fucking fast. At that very moment, I almost yelled in pure shock as I just drove straight into the creature at full speed, slamming into it and splattering blood all over my windshield. This wasn't a movie, so I couldn't just drive straight through it, and my car had gotten stuck, so I slammed on the brakes. After I had gotten over the shock of what just happened, I gripped the steering wheel while I took several breaths.
When I gathered all the courage I had, I stepped out of my car and I looked at the dead body of the creature. I had just run over this thing, so this creature was barely recognizable. The corpse stunk. I pulled out the Colt 1911 out of my holster and I stood a few feet away from the creature. My body tensed as I waited for something to happen. It didn't move for 30 seconds, and I relaxed. Exactly when it screeched an unholy pitch, and its limbs snapped and popped as it twisted, lifting itself off the ground. Holy fucking shit, I muttered.
I aimed for the center of mass, my arms shaking as I instantly ran back several steps. I fired once, and it screeched in pain, instantly turning to me as I got on all fours and started to charge. I was pulling the trigger over and over again, each shot slowing down the rapidly approaching creature until I heard a dreadful click as my magazine ran dry. The creature was significantly incapacitated, crawling slower as it roared and gnashed at me. I jumped back in my car and floored the fucking pedal, looking back only once, as after I was speeding down the road. In the moonlight, I could see that the creature had disappeared.
Sometimes at 9 p.m., I was sitting in my living room watching some television. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted two glowing eyes looking at me from the forest, then another pair of eyes. And that's when the realization hit me. There were dozens of pairs of yellow glowing eyes. Dozens. My heart rate started to get a little faster when I saw the eyes appearing, staring into my soul. Adrenaline and fear pumped through my body. I grabbed my shotgun, a huge skinning knife, and a flashlight, with my fully loaded pistol on my hip. I ran out to my backyard onto my wooden porch, and I shined the powerful flashlight at the creatures. There was an entire swarm of them.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is happening in Appalachia, and in case y'all weren't aware, there are a few rules to Appalachia, and that is, do not go outside at night. If you saw something, no you didn't. If you heard something, no you didn't. And homie just went outside at night.
And wasn't there another one where it's like never open the door unless you know for sure someone is there?
Oh yeah, that one too. There were 30 of them, I think. I didn't do an exact count, ranging in size from 5 feet tall to 9 feet. Some were silver, wet-looking creatures that bore the appearance of waterlogged corpses with a single massive mouth, while others looked like horrifying, elongated, and anthropomorphic humanoid versions of various predatory animals that would be sighted around these woods. Others were the same, demonic, skeletal humanoid creatures with eyes covering their upper body. There were others lying deeper into the woods, the ones in the shadows that didn't even have a humanoid figure. They were something else. I couldn't look away from all of the huge glowing eyes. I was paralyzed by fear and panic, and the creature slowly started to flank the house, approaching closer and closer by the second. Move! Just fucking move! I instantly started firing into the various creatures as they screeched and roared, but the fucking 12-gauge shotgun shells filled with deadly buckshot only seemed to annoy them. They were extremely durable. Fuck, fuck, fuck! I yelled as I ran out of shells.
The creatures were only a dozen meters away, and I drew my pistol and I started mag dumping into anything that moved. The dark figures weaving in and out of my flashlight beam as I desperately tried to stop them. I took a quick glance at my car, which was 30 meters away. No way in hell was I making it there. My ears rung as I finally ran dry on my pistol. And I picked up my shotgun and ran inside, slamming the door shut. I was panicking like hell as these creatures reached my house, crawling and banging on the walls. I pushed my dinner table against the backyard door, and I ran around, locking the windows and shutting the blinds. I grabbed my weapons, and I ran into my bedroom, where my gun, locker, and ammunition was stored. I ran inside, locked the door, and I pushed my bed against the door before I shut the only window in my room and covered it. I was shaking, on the ground, rapidly trying to feed shells into my 12-gauge as the banging on the walls intensified. Fucking hell! I shouted as I dropped a shell, instantly searching for it. I finished loading my shotgun, and I sat down, my back against the corner as I prepared for the monsters to break in.
Dude, frickin' these are flesh pedestrians without a doubt.
What?
I'm not saying the actual word. I'm native. I'm not saying that shit.
Oh, the skinwalkers?
Yes, I don't say that word.
Sorry, you just said flesh pedestrians, and I was like, what?
Yes, flesh pedestrians.
I forgot that you don't actually say the word, so.
Nah, I ain't trying to bring that juju to me, man. At that point, I panicked. The speeding car couldn't kill these creatures. The shotgun shell to the head couldn't. What the fuck was I going to do? I couldn't deal with them. I couldn't just kill them. I couldn't stand looking at the creatures, so I just locked the doors, shut the windows, and even closed the blinds, and I cowered in my bedroom. I'd even left my fucking phone on the table, barricading the backyard door. And then I heard the horrifying sounds of the fingers and claws tapping on the windows, the doors, the walls, and the roof. The creatures were all over the house. They were tapping on the walls, the windows, trying to get me to come outside. They were most likely strong enough to punch and claw through the house, but for some reason, they just stayed outside, making these horrible fucking clicking noises and groans of pain. Later in the night, I tried to sleep. I couldn't.
I couldn't sleep with the knowledge that there were monsters just outside the safety of my tiny one-story house. Eventually, the tapping stopped, but I still could not sleep. I knew that was just a trick. These creatures were extremely intelligent. I, on the other hand, was between a rock and a forest full of demonic monsters. I stayed up the whole night, and I finally fell asleep at sunrise when I knew the creatures were gone. The next day, I took a day off from work, and I examined the exterior of my house.
There were dozens of holes and scratches from where the creatures had tapped and scratched on the house. There was even a small spiderweb of cracks on the massive window I had in the living room. This time I grabbed a Remington Model 700, my largest bear hunting rifle, and I went into the forest and instantly discovered dozens of humanoid footprints stamped into the moist ground. More unsettling, I found holes in the ground, like something with a giant spider-like appendages had walked through, along with gigantic indentations which looked like tentacle marks. Though that would be impossible. Everything was covered in a black, viscous goo. I followed the trails and footprints into the forest, still extremely cautious of my surroundings.
The footprints appeared to trace back to the other side of my property, deep into the Appalachian Mountains, but I had no intention to go any further than I already was. The creatures came back for 7 more days, but not once had they shown themselves, staying well out of sight and reach. I was considering going out of town to buy much stronger weapons and call up some old friends, but I decided to sleep on it and see what effects my bear hunting rifle had on these creatures. Being that the creatures were right at the tree line, I couldn't sleep that night. So I walked over to my living room to get the cliche, I don't know. Get the
Hold on, let me
cliche
see.
glass of water. I don't want to be...
Oh yes, cliche.
Okay. I don't want to be too overdramatic or annoying. But when I turned around and looked at what was on the other side of the large, cracked window on my living room wall, my heart almost stopped. One of the creatures was right on the other side of the sliding glass door, its disgusting face pressed up against the window. Besides, when I ran over one of those creatures. This was the first time I saw one of these creatures' faces up close, and I wish I never saw it. The creature's face was pale and wrinkled, with absolutely no visible features, besides some sort of ancient symbol/carving cut into its face, bleeding profusely. "What the fuck?" I screamed, pulling out my pistol and emptying the magazine into its face and neck, riddling it with bullet holes at point-blank range. Still, it was standing there and started to bang on the window, screeching out of a mouth I couldn't see. The creature screeched in pain and broke the window just as I ran to my room and returned with my massive rifle. I turned off safety, lined up my shot, and blasted the creature, blasting it into hell. More specifically, when I shot the creature, it just fell right on its back, a gaping, bloody hole in its chest. I guess this creature was one of the less durable monsters.
I checked for other creatures nearby before I grabbed my car keys, wallet, and my phone and ran out the other door to my car, started it, and drove the fuck out of there. When I looked at the rearview mirror, my heart dropped deep into my stomach. A dozen of those pesky fucking creatures were just standing on the road behind me. Their appearance was hidden by dark shadows. I floored it, and eventually lost sight of them. I kept driving until I reached the center of town, and then I found my way into the closest bar. I parked and breathed heavily for a minute before I planned my next move. Moving out was out of the question. I didn't have nearly enough money, and I had already worked my fucking ass off to buy the property in the first place. Then I remembered that old friend who owed me with a few favors. Her previous occupation would help with this situation.
I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my old contacts before I found one. Right at the bottom, the first and last number I had called. Only titled Lamia? I'm butchering that so hard.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
I hesitated for a bit before I pressed the call button, and I let it ring. I doubted he would pick up anyway. Hey, Lamia.
Hey, Lamia. I said, it's been a while.
Well, bunnies, that was it for reading scary Reddit stories. If you guys would like to see more of this, make sure to leave a comment down below to let us know, and leave a like on this video so I know you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe if you are new, if you enjoy this type of content as well. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, and I would honestly love to do it again. And thank you to Kai for being my special guest in this video. I will leave the link to his channel down in the description box below, so go check it out.
We want this to be a series, please.
Kai's a good friend of mine, and he doesn't have any videos yet, but I still recommend you go check him out because he was nice enough to record this with me. Thanks a lot, Kai.
You're welcome.
But anyways, that's all, and we'll hope to see you guys, hopefully, in the next video like this. Bye, bunnies!